How do you help players deal with an annoying opponent or an annoying environment during competition? What is, in your opinion, on why some countries or badminton associations tend to be more successful only in certain events?
I'm sorry to say, but it looked like something you were watching in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Like the difference, of quality was crazy. But am I correct in saying that no matter what lens you have to bring, you will always bring the same haircut, CK?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Average Not Average podcast. This one is a special one because it's our 1 year anniversary episode, which means we have now released 27 episodes in the past year, one every 2 weeks, and we've not missed a single episode so far, Victor.
That's amazing. Very, very good to be back. I think it's because of you. We've been consistent. I've had a lot of stuff going on, but CK and your team, you have been very, very, very professional. It's been, great to work with you. So stoked to be here for the 1 year anniversary episode.
Yeah, no, I think so. For us, like over the past 12 months, we've had 15 incredible guests join us. Obviously, I've really enjoyed hosting it together with you, Victor. And then we've recorded conversations both online and also physically around the world. And the podcast has been now listened in over 50 countries with over 350,000 plays. So I think that's quite a big number from our perspective. I think to everyone who's watched, listened, and also shared an episode, sent a message, or supported the podcast in any way whatsoever, thank you so much. We genuinely appreciate the support so much.
Yes, and for this episode, we wanted to turn it over to you, actually. And we asked you for your questions, and today we'll be answering as many of them as we can. So, CK, let's get into it. What do you think?
Yeah, so we posted the request for Ask Us Anything, Ask Me Anything. I think normally on it started on Reddit, like it says AMA, but then we went AUA because there's two of us. And not just on Reddit, we posted it on YouTube, we posted it on Instagram, and we posted it on TikTok as well. And so here our team has collated everything onto this. And I think essentially it's boiled down to 4 different categories of questions. So we have the podcast and business related questions. Obviously, there's tons of badminton related questions. We then have some other categories and also for the fun one. Let's start with the podcast one, because obviously that one was at the very, very top. Could you share some stories behind how the podcast came to life, the journey and the inspiration to launching it? I think, Victor, you can start on that one.
Yeah, I think first of all we have to get credit to Romain as well. He was also, one of the guys who basically put us together and told us to, try to do it. So credit to him as well. I had a podcast in the past, like Serve and Smash podcast many years ago, around 2015, 2016 or something. But when I had the chance to work with you guys, CK, then it was a good chance for me. Also, I think that even though there is quite a bit of good badminton podcast out there, it's always good to have another platform where players and us, of course, we can share our thoughts about our beautiful sport and everything in between. So, but that's basically how it came to life. And then I think we both had the motivation. The problem for me was that, and is that, there's so much work going on behind the scenes, and you can carry that while I can just show up, which makes it possible for me to be here. So I appreciate the hard work, and I think we've had a good year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think again, I agree. Roman was the one that came up with the idea, and actually the ultimate goal of the idea is to do live shows, live streams and live shows. And we've both really are trying very, very hard to make that happen one day, because I think, like we both have such different schedules at this point in time, but then the goal is to one day do live shows together in person and or online, and then have every one of you who is listening or whenever you are, join us online or in person. Hopefully one day, like that's the goal, because I think that's the dream of Roman's. And then also he had this was a brilliant idea as well. And so when he reached out as well as you did, everything just clicked together. I think also from the operations side of things as well. So we have our team who's working with us on El Plan Studios that's behind this project. So normally there's about a team of four people that's working on post-processing, and also planning. And I think throughout this last year, we've learned so much according to watching a lot of other big podcasts and then learning what they do. I think a lot of the really good ones are all in person, but at the moment in time, we can only do it online as much as we can because of our schedules. But we've learned so much of it. I think there's also a lot of support online that from you guys that I get a lot of DMs from to say, hey, have you thought about this? About, like for example, captions. I think very early on we had a player who was, I believe, deaf, but then relies on captions. And then so from day one, all our shorts, we put captions on. That was a standard that we're really proud of. We really try and get it as accurate as possible. We want to be as accessible as possible. And so we do it. And so I think it's a really good place to be in. We try and get it better every single episode. So yeah, thank you for the support.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the second question we have here is, please share what the podcasts you follow most and why. I have two on the top of my head straight away.
No, okay, you can start.
Yeah. So for me, the other badminton podcast that I follow a lot is Shuttle Squad. So Shuttle Squad currently have done 2 seasons already. Tommy is the host alongside, I believe, Marvin Zeidel, Kirsty Gilmore, and Christo Popov. Season 1 had Selena Peak as well. So there's 4 World Tour players plus Tommy, who's the host, Tommy Fuchs. We're also trying to get him on as a guest as well.
Sure.
Shuttle Squad have done 2 full seasons already. They're currently preparing for season 3. This is as much as I'm aware of. So I listen to theirs every single episode. Another one that came into mind is High Performance Podcast. So it's hosted by Jake Humphreys and Professor, I can't remember his name, but the High Performance Podcast, it's also a really one that I listen to a lot. They cover a lot of business people. They cover a lot of high profile athletes, like mindset and stuff like that. And it's amazing. Third one, actually, I'm getting into it, is the one hosted by LeBron James and Steve Nash, the basketball one. Yeah, them too. They talk a lot about basketball, obviously, but then also their side quests for them, like the business side of things. So yeah, I listen to those 3 quite a lot.
Super cool. For me, in the past, I listened a lot to podcasts. Actually, I haven't been listening too much the last, long time. The High Performance Podcast I also listen to. Back in the days, I used to listen a lot to, Joe Rogan podcast, like so many, so like everybody else was just about to say. I do enjoy like audiobooks nowadays a little bit more than music. Music I've started to listen to quite a bit. But what I spend most time listening to is actually just a Mandarin podcast to keep my Mandarin sharp and to keep, getting better at it. And I only have that much time to listen to stuff. So with 2 kids, the time back in the day when I started learning Mandarin, I literally listened to Mandarin every time I had a chance to listen to anything. When I was cooking, driving, whatsoever, I was just listening to Mandarin podcast. Like just dialogues, etc., etc. But nowadays it's a little bit of a mix. That's my how can you say? That's my list, my playlist.
Wow. Yeah. So I actually wasn't aware of Chinese podcasts and actually what they look like. But then actually my wife then actually introduced me and showed me some of it. They're really good. They're literally like a chat show, like a high quality chat show, which you can watch and listen to.
Yeah, super. You can get like more intermediate, where I'm right now it's more intermediate. You can get advanced as well. Like I listen to that and simplified, simple, just starter conversations and stuff. So, it's very good. I think for most languages actually nowadays it's out there. And for me, it's way better than Duolingo. I learn way faster listening to dialogues and hearing the words. And, it has been, a great thing for me.
Yeah. So I'm trying to learn German on Duolingo because obviously I work with a lot of German colleagues. And obviously I'm actually currently physically in Germany at the moment for the German Open. I'm actually sat in the media room now. But then, so I'm learning Duolingo in German, and I often get funny jokes from colleagues, but then I recently learned that there is a news channel, an online news channel in Germany that speaks really slowly for German learners. And so obviously we're aware that from stats, there's a lot of German listeners and German viewers out there for the podcast. So if you have really good materials for me to learn German and practice my German in terms of listening and also speaking, please put it down in a comment section below, because I would certainly love to be able to do more with German. Victor, you speak German as well, because I remember some of the words you come out with.
I don't speak German, but I understand ein bisschen.
Ein bisschen.
Yeah, I don't speak. I had it in school, but to be honest, I wasn't the most focused student doing those grades. But I still remember some random stuff for some reason. But no, I don't speak German. But I think I could pick it up pretty fast. Maybe we should start another podcast where we learn German. We just need a German as the host.
Yeah. Showcasing our poor Germans as a podcast joke. I think I'm certainly down for that. And so I think like anyone with German information, put it down in the comment section below. I would certainly love to pick it up, and then Victor might be able to pick out a few words from there as well.
Definitely.
Okay, so those two are really, really good questions. We're going to quickly jump into some badminton one, because there's quite a lot here. First one, as a beginner with limited budget, what should I invest in? Should I invest in a good racket or a good shoes?
I would just basically, split it up a little bit, and then find like a decent, okay racket, and then medium budget, lower budget racket, and some okay shoes. It also depends a little bit on if you are, a little bit more injury prone and you've suffered a few injuries in the past. I would probably prefer a better shoe compared to a higher end racket. But I would go for like a medium sort of way in that regards. Just my personal opinion. You can get so many good products nowadays for fair price. So I would try to find like a medium way.
Yeah. For me, if it's only shoe or racket, I would go shoe first and then play with whatever racket you get. And actually, I would say invest in coaching. Invest in coaching. That would get you better. And then from there on, you can then maximize your ability to use the racket. So that'll be my list for me. Second one, how do you help players deal with an annoying opponent or an annoying environment during competition? This one's a good question.
It's a good question. I think the first question you should ask yourself is that why is that opponent, annoying you? Basically, for me, I've also been annoyed by opponents on so many times, of course. And when I played my best, basically, I just tried to focus on what happens on my part of the court. You can't really control, of course, if it goes over the line. And sometimes, I'm also a person who likes to take up these like mental battles, because I actually feel like in most instances I can, compete, and often it's me who get most out of it sometimes. But, if you're a person who gets annoyed and it affects your game in a bad way, then I would strongly advise you to try to see if you can go a little bit into yourself and focus on yourself and your game plan instead of focusing on the opponent, because all the energy you use towards that is something that you take away from something else. And, some players get energy from that. If a opponent knows that the only way to maybe, win against you or can score some easy points is to annoy you, then you're just, you're jumping right into the trap, so to say. So that's how I see it.
Yeah. I find it, so if it's a tournament that I've prepared well, I've really wanted, I feel like with that amount of preparation, I think this is a phrase that you say quite a lot. I think you fall down to the level of preparation that you put in.
Yes.
If I feel like I'm prepared well, I don't get affected by most things. Like if you're feeling confident, it's only when you know that you've not done enough. And then you know that, okay, someone's coming up, and then they will start annoying you, and then you can't play your own game when you start worrying. That's when I get a bit stressed. But I think if I feel like I've prepared well, nothing's really going to shake me, or at least I know that I can maximize my performance. If I get beaten by a better player, so be it. I can accept it. It's okay. It's only when I know that I've not done the work, or at least the work's not put in, and then you go, oh crap, I start tightening up. Yeah. Okay, that's a really good question. Next one. Who do you think is going to be a dominating force for the upcoming generation? My choice would be Alwi Farhan. Obviously, he or she here is quite biased. He went straight into Alwi. That's a really good one as well. But then I think, Victor, who do you think? So let's pick a guy and a girl if you can. Anyone on the top of your head.
Actually, I think we will see it being quite competitive over the next period of time. I think we will see different players winning different tournaments. I think with the combination of the calendar being more and more packed, and I think more and more players. I think it's a pretty even field. Of course there is the top guys, and in the major tournaments you've seen the same players go pretty far, like Shuchi and Kunlevud, and then you have Anders, and there are so many players, not only in the top 5, but in the entire top 15. On their good day, they can go very, very far.
Yeah.
So I think we will see, a good mix of players doing well. I don't think we will see like 1 or 2 players like dominating all tournaments, but
No.
I could be wrong. If I had to choose, it's probably easier to say like a winner for the next Olympics or something, yeah, or like the favorite for the next Olympics. An Se-young in the women's singles.
Yeah.
And I would actually personally go with Kunlevud for the next Olympics if he can, keep healthy, and and why do I say that? I say it because he has like major tournament finals experience. He's already been in an Olympic final, and I know how important that is.
Mm.
And I think he has showed that when he is in top shape, he's a very dangerous opponent, and can beat all players. So that's my guess if I only can choose one.
Yeah, I think we do forget how young An Se-young and Kunlevud are,
Mm,
both of them. It's
yeah.
incredible at the level that they're playing at and the
Mm,
age that they're at. I think to everyone that's watching badminton, it feels like Kunlevud has been on the scene for ages. I think
yeah.
people forget that he has 3 World Junior Championship titles as well, and I think he won his first one so young. And then An Se-young again, it feels like she's been on the tour forever, but she first burst onto the scene 16, and she was taking senior titles already, like
Mm,
international challenges. And so, yeah, I think we forget those two. One young player that pops out in my head at the moment is French young player. I will apologize first because I think I will not get his name right. Madisow, Madysow. I think that's his name, or at least that's on the Instagram side that I follow him. He's a lefty, tall, incredibly powerful player, and I believe he's under 17 or maybe like under 19 at the moment. He, yeah, he's my pick for the real next generation from so on. On the ladies' side, I've not really seen too many, especially from the Asian side, so I can't really comment on that
mm.
one. But An Se-young is here to stay for quite a while.
Yeah, the only risk I see is like, but the new cycle from next year will probably be a good thing, but that's obviously injuries.
Mm,
But in terms of level, I don't see anybody who can really compare to
get
her
close.
if
Yeah.
if she's at her best.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a really good answer. Here's one. Victor, have you competed in doubles before? And if you did, why did you choose singles over doubles?
I quit doubles at around under 17s or something like that. I also played actually my first Denmark Open. I only played in doubles back then, and lost in the qualification to my club mates. And I wasn't really the best double player, but there is some things you can take away from the doubles, like the fast racket, move, like the flag game, and the reactions and stuff like that. But I always knew that I wanted to play singles.
Mm,
So I pretty early on in my career, around on the 19th or something like that, I already started to be on the tour.
mm.
So very early on, I knew that it was singles that was the most important thing for me. So yeah, I always knew. I always knew.
Okay. Okay. You always knew that.
Yeah.
That's the best answer there is, isn't it? Okay. So here's a good one as well. What is, in your opinion, on why some countries or badminton associations tend to be more successful only in certain events? For example, Korea have strong men's doubles and doesn't have good men's singles. And what is the main reason you think Denmark was able to develop strong men's singles players like, obviously, yourself and Anders?
It's a good question because in the past, like Denmark has also had like, and we still have like good men's doubles as well and good men's singles, and we had good women's singles in the past, and we still have, women's singles who are still in the top, 15, 20. If we talk when like, it seems like this question is more like, world championship, Olympic medals
Top,
kind of,
top, top.
yeah. Um, One thing is, of course, the culture, the training environment. If you have, strong doubles and you have coaches who have very, very good experience creating very, very good doubles players, like in Korea, for example, it seems like they have the secret sauce for good doubles, as well as women's singles, of course. But you could argue that An Se-young is a little bit of an outlier. But in terms of doubles, there is definitely something they're doing in Korea that's working very well. I think it's a matter of culture, the trainings and that you are around, players and you train against the best of the best. Of course, that makes you also realize that, okay, if they can and I train with them and I see what they do, then, I have a chance to at least do what they do, and try to do the same. But it's a very good question. It's also a matter of talent. Like there can be a period of time where you really have, a lot of talent in the different categories. And maybe, I don't know, in Korea, maybe they tend to move the best talent, or if they see, or they really have, technical talent, maybe they try to push them towards the men's double because they know they have the expertise there. I'm not sure. But it is a matter of talent, of course, and then the culture and the training environment. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so.
Yeah, I see it more in terms of the operational side. So like success breeds success, right? So once you have successful players in a specific discipline, you then like you said, they then generate more interest from that side of things, and then more players want to play that discipline as well. So success breeds success. But also, I think thinking in terms of like Olympic funding cycles, I think a lot of federations and national governing bodies, they fund games and projects from the previous success that they had. And so if a country has won gold in certain things and certain disciplines, more funding will be poured into it, more attention will be poured into it, more kids want to play it. And then from there on, it then continues building that. And so success breeds success. And you just need that one outlier, like you said, like say An Se-young now, Olympic gold. You're going to see a lot of young girls coming up in the next, I would say, 8 years from Korea playing women's singles at a very, very high level, because now there's a lot of girls that want to play that, or at least some higher numbers seeing that, and then that success breeds more success. And yeah, I mean, I can see how Danish kids, a lot of Danish boys are playing singles at the moment, because obviously you and Anna is playing at a really, really high level. Obviously you have Peter before, Hans, like a lot of very, very good elite men's singles players. But then I think that's also why that it keeps growing. But really, really good question.
Yeah, it's good. But in the women's singles in Denmark, right, we've also, like historically, we've had, we had
Tina and Camilla.
Yeah. But then after that, with all due respect to the women's singles players, we haven't really had, world championship, gold medal or final or, medal in that regards. So it's also a matter of like the competition also in the different categories and the talent you have in the given countries. I think there's so many things that goes into it, so it's hard to name one, but it's a very, very good question, that's for sure.
Yep. And I think also when other countries catching up as well, and if there's no extension in terms of the lead or protecting that lead, it could happen. Similarly, like for example, European teams that just finished, Denmark got silvers in both, whereas traditionally you have dominated for ages, right? So I think that's a sign on that side of things.
France now, you can, I'm sure in the future, they will do very well. I'm sure.
Yeah. For the Thomas Cup, they're the 5th seed. So that's how strong they are right now. Like they have 3 top 15 singles players, and you just need 3 points, right? You just need 3 points.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one.
It's great. It's great for the sport, and it's great for European badminton as well.
100%. Right, we'll move on to the next question. Hi both, how pros play badminton has changed a lot over the last decade. What was the most significant development in play style over your careers? And where do you think there are some cutting edge developments in technique? And where do you think it may go more mainstream? This is a multi-level question here.
Just one podcast kind of question.
Yeah, we can talk about this for a
Yeah,
whole hour easily,
yeah,
one episode. But I think if I can just chip in 30 seconds very, very quickly
yeah,
here,
of course you can. It's
I
your
actually
podcast.
think the change in playing scoring system, we went from a 15-point service point scoring opportunity to a rally point system where every rally counts. That made badminton so much more attacking, and you have to sustain the attack to be able to keep winning points. And so I think when players realize that the ability to continuously attack and changing training, nutrition, preparation to be able to consistently attack, that's when the game has changed. And then that's why I really like the 21 point the rally point system. I think going to 15 points, I think probably it will be even more attacking, even more aggressive, which I
Yeah.
personally like. The games will be shorter, but yes, I like that.
But in the reaction to players being more attacking when the scoring system changed was that the defense of the players overall has become so much better. So it evened out a little bit because now, if you just need to be a complete player. Of course, there's players who are way better at attacking and not so strong in the defense and stuff like that. But overall, like the defense of the best players has improved so much. And I tend to agree with you with the 15 points. But changes like that is also what it makes players adapt in some way without sometimes not even noticing it that they're adapting. And then you see that the sport will always develop. The players will always get stronger, fitter, faster. If we did this podcast in 2002, 2004, probably we would also sit and talk of this. And then now we're here and the play, the quality of play is significantly higher. There's way more better players. It's just the development of the sport itself, which is good. But yeah, it is. I think the 21 scoring system definitely did something good to the game. The matches would have been, if we played that scoring system now, it would need to be a 4-week event.
Yeah, the 15-point service only system. So when I go back to Malaysia, I still play that system with certain groups of older players because they refuse to change to the 21-point system. And then so within that play style, you can cruise. Like for example, if you're under pressure, you clear, you lift out. Yeah, whereas in the 21-point system, you can't really do that because once you lose the attack, you almost guaranteed to lose the point.
Exactly. Yeah. You could win pretty fast, if you just have the point, so of course the matches could go far. But yeah, it's this conversation is very, very interesting, I don't think from the popularity of the game, I actually don't think it would have a big, effect in terms of the 21 scoring system. I don't see how the media will suddenly be like, wow, now it's 15 points. Now let's just invest a lot of it. It's, it goes so deep and there are so many things that goes into this.
Making it mainstream, right?
Yeah, like making it mainstream. There are so many things that goes into it, like where is it played, who is watching it, how do we invest in terms of the promotion, and how is the whole system built and stuff like that. It's a big, thing to unwrap.
Yeah. So in terms of making it mainstream, a lot of it, I think, is down to media nowadays. And I think the media holds so much, in some way, so much power to be able to do that. And it can quickly amplify certain things. And in a matter of weeks, if not days, if it goes out on social media and it goes viral very, very quickly. But then going viral is not the answer because going viral is not sustainable unless there's a formula and there's a structure behind it. I think what currently badminton lacks are actually truly high quality presentation of the sport. So personally, I think it's a very known opinion of mine. I genuinely do not like the current top-down streaming angles because badminton is such a fast-paced sport. We can't see what's going on. And currently with certain tournaments and certain angles, because the need to include sponsors on the edge of the A boards and also on the mats, the court only covers maybe, I would say, 30% of the whole screen. I think one example would be actually the European Team Championships, the streaming. I actually zoomed in on YouTube at 1.4 or 1.6x just to fill that screen because it was too far away. I can't see.
but I think I saw something from the Chinese national something where you could basically
national games
and stuff like that,
yeah
which was very, very cool. And if you compare that to the European team championships, I'm sorry to say, but it looked like something you were watching in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Like the difference, of quality was crazy.
Yeah, but I think we also need to balance that with the cost side. I think people really genuinely do not understand.
Saying, you can't, if there is like a big investment from the, be it BWF or whatever, like in making these events, and maybe in 2027 we will see something, I don't hope that it will just be the same event, over. I hope that we will actually take advantage of that extra time and that extra thing that you're going to invest something in, making the players, let the fans know the players a little bit more some way, build up the matches, build up the lineup. All that we need to do way better than we're doing now. But the players is not so motivated because they don't really feel like they do it because they don't really. Sorry to say, they don't really get anything out of it. They do because of course their branding and stuff like that will be better. But you know what I mean, right? It's still the federations mostly which runs it, and BWF who runs it, and they can't really. Many players can't really take the decision on their own behalf,
Yeah, I think again this question, like you said, this could be a 1 hour episode, very, very easy. I think just a little bit more perspective in terms of costings. I think people tend to forget how expensive TV production costs because of the manpower required and also the equipment side of things. For example, even just on this podcast alone, per episode production costs for us in terms of post processing, it's £1,000 to £1,500 per episode.
Crazy.
So it's quite expensive. But if you think about TV, so for example, I think I can say this. Last year's All England, I think it overran by an hour or two from its usual predicted TV slot. And so because the matches went longer, and then so the additional extension that's needed for the TV crew was £20,000 in terms of.
Can I ask you a question, CK? With your business, the money you earn in your business, like when you have covered the salary for employees and for yourself, so you can make a living, what do you do with that money?
We reinvest into the business for young projects like these. Yes. Yeah.
So, and how much does BWF right now have sitting in the bank cash?
So, and this is why it's an interesting conversation that we can have in that full hour podcast.
I just don't get it. Why don't we, obviously I'm completely just sharing my own thoughts because that's just how I'm thinking. Yeah. I also, take a lot of what I've earned during my career and I've invested it in myself. I've invested it. We talked a little bit about that with Tina as well, the own website, the Romain as well, all this kind of thing. Why don't we take a big chunk and then we say, we're going to make sure that the next year's Super 1000 tournaments, it's going to be the craziest wow effect ever.
Yeah. And so I think currently that's why I believe it's the federations and the organizers that's actually paying those costs.
Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I don't understand that logic.
Yeah. But then I mean, I'm not defending BWF in terms of this, but hence this is why I'm really, I would love to be able to dive deep into someone within BWF who actually has the ability to actually answer all these questions and then also be able to kind of explain.
Mentioned it so many times there. Everybody is welcome for a friendly conversation because I just want to understand it, basically. Yeah. And I think the fans also want to, maybe it would be, maybe we will just be like, okay, that makes sense. And the fans will also, but there is a lot of talk about how things are run.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I know that for 2027, BWF is paying for, I believe, all the A boards on the site, at least the minimum, all the digital A boards from I think 750 and 1000. They're also paying for, I believe, the prize money, the full prize money for the whole thing, for all the tournaments, and then also the additional production costs, something like that. But we need to double check those. But I know that they are reinvesting a lot more into the project as I think they should for the sport, but then also there's a lot of plus points that comes out of that because more TV production equals more opportunities to sell more rights. Yeah, it's a reinvesting.
Earn more money, you will have to invest more money.
Yeah. you have to spend money to make money. I think that's a fact.
Yeah.
But then just going back to that All England one, I remember Badminton England, they told me that the extra time overrunning cost them £20,000 for that. I think 1 hour, the extra slot, just for a TV crew. So it is expensive to produce TV programming. But we need to save this for another episode, because this is something that we can chat about it. We cannot wait. We cannot wait to have like people in the know come and talk to us about it. Like, this is a good one. Another one here. This one is a great one, actually. What separates the top players from each other? Is there a specific skill that makes the best players, or is it more nuanced? For example, when we think of Lee Chong-wei and Lin Dan after 2008, I think most people would say Lin Dan had some kind of mental edge over Lee Chong-wei, as well as the ability to keep up the speed and therefore won all the most prestigious events. Personally, I think Lin Dan had better technique, shot selection than Chong-wei, which led to advantage in most rallies, X, Y, and Z. What do you think?
Oh, it's a big question. There is, it's very nuanced, you know, as the person mentions, both the mental side of things, the technical, the tactical. There is some things where, you know, when you meet certain players, a certain play style, it just doesn't fit your play style so well. That's just a fact. That's how it is. You know, there is also luck that plays into it, you know, in the different tournaments. Do you meet the players on the right timing, the right days? Do you have the luck on your side? Like, being completely honest, I think that Lee Chong-wei, you know, he was also a little bit unlucky in the crucial parts of the biggest matches, you know, because I literally think he had the level to win against Lin Dan especially in London, both in the World Champs and also at the Olympics. So it's a very, very hard thing to answer. I do think, of course, that, you know, the Lin Dan Lee Chong-wei, you know, situation, I do think that Lin Dan, like from a technical perspective, I think that he had like something, you know, he was just a unique, like, you know, player, like extremely talented in those regards, also physically, of course, more in the earlier part of his career, I would say, like from an explosive, you know, in 2008, you know, he was, you know, you could say a complete player in that regards, while Chong-wei just throughout his career was just like a physical, you know, crazy
specimen,
yeah, crazy fast, you know, just
insane,
so good. And I mentioned in the other podcast that back then, you know, when I played against him in his, you know, he had a long peak, you could say, but on his best days, you know, I don't really see how, I didn't understand how anybody could win against him. But some players just managed to do so, like Chen Long as well. You know, he had a play style where he just managed to sort of like take away the most dangerous weapons from him in the finals they played, right? And it didn't look as explosive and as fantastic as Chong-wei, but he managed to find a way to win. So it's so nuanced how the play style and everything, and it's very, very hard to answer and it's hard to explain. It's also a feeling you have on court.
100%.
Yeah.
From a third person point of view, so the easiest way, obviously I've been in a very privileged position to be able to speak to you guys a lot. I see all the players a lot at this moment in time over the last few years. The first thing that really struck me in terms of players, especially based on rankings, it's the physicality. Very, very quickly. And when you go to international challengers level, so the players who are playing like top 50, the top 50's physicality is different to top 30. Top 30 is so much bigger. And then the gap goes smaller. It becomes top 20. Top 20 is much bigger and much stronger than the top 30 players. And then you get the top 15, top 10. And then top 10 is a completely different beast at all. You have the top 10, and then top 10 to top 5, there's a gap. And then each of the top 5 is a completely different beast. And when I say beast, it's an absolutely amazing specimen. Like, it's incredible how big you guys are, like how strong you guys are, you know, like, so when we stand next to you physically, we feel absolutely tiny. Like, the ladies and the men, they're so strong. You guys are so strong. And for top 1 to 5, every one of you guys is massively strong. It's incredible. And that base gives you that confidence and the ability to play the shots and sustain the pressure that you want to. And again, because of the camera angles, it's quite difficult to see how big, how strong you guys are. But standing in person, Jesus Christ, I feel like I feel so tiny standing next to you guys.
Yeah,
So,
but there has happened a lot from the physicality over the last years as well. Like even during my career, I also put on quite a bit of muscle during my career because simply, both from the nutrition, from the strength training, all this kind of thing, you just get more and more knowledge, and you have to be a complete athlete.
1% better every day, right? So
yeah, and yeah, good question.
Yeah. Very good question. So this next question goes back into what we talked about earlier, and that what are the top 3 things BWF can do to grow the sport? What about adopting a model more like tennis with the ITF and ATP? Will this give more power to players and in turn grow participation, sponsorship, exposure?
We talked about this many times.
Yeah, I'm conscious about the time, but then this is a very, very interesting question. I think we can save that for another episode where we can dive really deep.
Where we have
1 full hour.
Yeah, 1 full hour, and maybe a guest from BWF would be great.
So I think we can also have someone from the tournament side, and then they can give us their perspective of what it is to run something like that. So we will actually save this question, I think, and then also I will actually go away and put my thoughts and experiences down on paper, because there's a multi-layered, this is a deep one. This is a very, very complex one. It's not a one size fits all and one solution will solve everything. This is not like this. But I think there's a lot of insight that we can share with everybody here, that you'll be surprised, both good and bad. And so, so hang on. We'll come back to you for those. Next question. I would like to hear your thoughts on what BWF have to do in order to promote badminton. I think this is exactly the same one. We will save that question. How would you improve spectator TV experience, changing camera angles? Or for me, I would say, get the cameras closer. Get them closer. Like that's the easiest way. Not necessarily more TV angles, get closer.
And I also think the quality of the broadcast in the different tournaments, there is such a big difference. Like some tournaments, I feel like the production is top notch, while some other tournaments it could definitely improve. So the difference in quality of the different events also need to improve. In my point of view.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we now move into the other categories. So we're finished kind of like round up the badminton side. And I love that we have some takeaways for that one. So we're on to the second half. Others, this is the other section. This question goes, okay, it's impressive what Viktor can do on the field, but have you ever tried to take good photos of badminton matches? It's much harder than running around on the field. So CK, what is your go-to strategy when taking pictures, especially during doubles games that are so fast? Do you try to follow the shuttlecock, or do you try to focus one player at one time, take wide shots, hope for the best? Please share your tips. Viktor, let's start with you. Have you tried to take a photo ever on a professional badminton court?
Not really, actually.
We might be able to do something. We might be able to change something with that one, because we actually have a content piece.
No, I never really, I never tried that before. I just tried on my phone sometimes, and I basically just like hold it in, and then I look through the 100 pictures afterwards and hope that I took a good one. But what you guys are doing is also amazing, and the different angles and the different positions you have to, lay in is not easy, I can imagine. So big respect to you guys.
Yeah. So we call that technique that you employed, we call that spray and pray.
Yes.
You're just spraying and then praying you get one.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm all spray and pray kind of guy.
Yeah, spray and pray. So we would love to be able to have a piece of content where, for example, we take you on court with us and then shoot how is it, how is it to be shot? I think just to add a little bit more context to that question. So for me, obviously I did not train in photography. My background's in engineering, but then obviously over the years I've been able to be lucky enough to be able to go courtside and actually train and practice how to take photos. I would say World Tour tournaments for different players and different disciplines require very different types of photography. For me, generally, I would say, like, if we use shutter speeds, so shutter speeds for everybody is how fast the shutter allows light onto the sensor, and it's per second. So normally for men's doubles, we often, for me, goes up to 1/2000th or 1/2500 per second of shutter speed. So it's incredibly fast. Whereas sometimes if we go down to for men's singles, we can get away with 1/1600, depending on the technique we want. If we're taking just crispy photos, we go faster. For ladies, we might go down to 1/1600ths, 1/2000ths. But if we go down to amateur level, the difference is so big and so much slower, where we can get away with 1/640 per second. And so this is like 4 times as slow. And when you say doubles, it depends on what we're looking for. Often when we go into court, we go with a plan of what is to be published. And so if it's specifically close-ups, we would bring closer lens, bigger lens, target a specific player for a specific shot. Everybody goes on court with the aim of wanting a certain thing, and they already know it in their head. We try not to spray and pray. A lot of times we do spray and pray because the shows are moving so fast. You guys are moving so fast. And we often also had to, I wouldn't say fight for positions, but your camera angles are quite limited on courtside. There's only a few angles that you're allowed, depending on what role you play. If you're with BWF, clearly you have access to those priority positions. If you're a host broadcaster, you have access. Otherwise, you're then confined to normally the sides of the court. And there's only so much you can do. And we try and get low down, go up high, try and separate the subject, which is you guys or the shuttle, to the background. And so we try and be creative until we get told off.
But am I correct in saying that no matter what lens you have to bring, you will always bring the same haircut, CK?
You are too nice. You're too kind.
You will always bring the same haircut no matter what angle you'll be shooting from.
Well, because the camera is facing the other way, not me, so it's okay. Yeah.
No, yeah. To be honest, it's the pictures that we really appreciate all the pictures because we can use them, we can use them ourselves and for the gram. And it's sometimes you don't really realize as a player even what position you are on court as well and what crazy amount of work you put your body through. So yeah, we appreciate the effort to shoot all those good pictures.
Yeah. And then I think we also had an episode where we spoke to Rafael from Badminton Photo. Obviously, they are the official badminton photography agency for the BWF, anything that's related to BWF. And so that conversation was also very, very interesting. But I think in terms of access to equipment nowadays, it does make life fairly more straightforward than before, because currently you can shoot at much higher frame rates. Yes, they're expensive, but you can shoot at much higher frame rates. The lenses are better. And also the people who are shooting it is also a lot better. Like I often really learn from my colleagues, or just watching how they do it, and then I go and try it myself. I think people are quite open about how they do it, but you can also after a certain period of time, you can also actually try and picture how they actually do it. So pardon the pun. But the success rate actually is less than 1%. Generally, if you hit 1%, so like for every 100 photo, if you can post-process 1, that'll be quite a success. I think my record for a day of shooting, I think I've done maybe 8,500 photos a day. And then I think post-processing, I think maybe I got, I'm not even sure I got 85, but I remember I shot one day, 8,500 photos. Post-processing was a pain, as you can imagine.
Bro, it would kill me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to develop.
Use AI for that?
Sorry?
Can't you use AI for this now?
No, not really. No.
That's a good idea.
No.
Good business idea.
Yeah, so we spray and pray, obviously hoping to get the right shots with you guys not looking bad, because we also don't want you guys to look bad. And oftentimes when you're in an action shot, the faces are quite funny, they're not natural, and so we want to be able to tell the right story. So yeah, and we also want the shuttle to be in the right place so they look good on whatever publications it's been used. So it's a lot more complex than that. But that's a really good question. Okay, so. Here's the next question. Have you thought about how you want to be involved with badminton when you're no longer competing? For example, coaching, promoting, broadcasting, hosting, like the King's Cup. Victor, I think this question's for you.
That's a good question. I think for sure, with Yonex and my different partners, we have a lot of work to do. So I will definitely stay in the sport somehow. I don't see myself coaching like for a national team, or if that's maybe, you never know if there is some, kind of special opportunity or whatever. But as it seems now, I don't really want to go into coaching into the traditional way. But, to be honest, everything is a little bit up in the air right now, and what's gonna happen after my career. So we see what happens, but I'm definitely gonna stay involved in the sport somehow.
Can we have you do some stand-up comedy? Because I think you're really funny, and we maybe maybe for every single episode we do from now on is practice, like 5 minutes. You have to do 5 minutes of stand-up
Yeah, maybe
to an audience of one.
maybe I will go into that and give it a shot. I don't think I'm particularly funny, but maybe if I just have you as my number one super fan, CK, then I'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm sure. Like, and then also I think when the team is editing, they can give like a rating. Is that 5-star today, or maybe 1-star? This is bad.
Exactly. I'll travel around on the HSBC World Tour just doing stand-up comedy.
I think that'll be a hit, and I think you'll get more than one person showing up.
Good. I have a plan.
Yeah, it could be something that you can add on to your contract, you know, like tell them like, hey, I'm going to do 5-minute stand-up. This is the rate where some of the biggest comedians are doing.
Exactly.
You now have an Olympic champion doing it. Take that.
Yes, take it. The ticket is almost fully filled up with sponsors, so you have one last chance.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's put that down, and then we will add for that one. Here's another good question. When is Viktor's second set of signature Yonex VA collection dropping?
Oh, it should be coming soon. I can say so much that the new game shirts is actually my favorite ones, and I really loved the first drop, but the one which is in the pipeline now, it's gonna be very, very cool. And unfortunately, I cannot say anything. I promise that when I get the green light to show something, I will be wearing it on the podcast, even though it's no sleeve, CK. And I hook you up with one as well. You have to wear one as well.
I'm gonna do like, you know, like the SpongeBob SquarePants song, right? Big guy.
Yeah, I know, and that's, you know, it's gonna be soon. And to be honest, maybe I can use, you know, I really, really appreciate the support from everybody who has supported, you know, the collection. We have tried to do something, you know, a little bit different and something new and something fresh. And you know, people has really been supporting a lot, and yeah, I really, really appreciate it. And my my goddaughter, she is playing now. She's around 9 years old now, or something like that. And she's saying that, you know, she sent me some pictures of herself, and she was saying like a lot of kids are running around with my shoes and the clothing and the racket, and it makes me generally so happy. So I really appreciate the support. The idea of having kids running around the world with you know, the VA collection from Yonex on is definitely something that makes me generally very happy. So I appreciate the support.
Yeah, and I think also off court as well, like a lot of people, a lot of players, a lot of stakeholders, and a lot of fans. I mean, they also tell me that they're really enjoying the series. It does look different to what people normally see from all the manufacturers, and so this is a plus, right? I think I remember also Kęstutis' conversation with us as well. Like he's like, there's nothing like this out there at the moment, and it's great. He loves it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you know, I really appreciate, you know, also Yonex giving me the opportunity to do something like this. And yeah, people have been very supportive for the first drop here, and the next drops it's only gonna be better. Like seriously, and I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Last question from this category: any books that improved your mindset or the way you do things on court?
On court. You could say like indirectly everything helps, right? Because you analyze everything you do outside the court, and how do you you know, how do you do things in order to prepare yourself. I think for me, you know, that the biggest thing has been to be like, try to be like a complete person, or like be the person I want to be outside the court. That will of course help me, you know, perform and prepare. So I've been reading a lot of different stuff. I think like Stoicism really helped me early in my career. You know, really get perspective on life and stuff like that. For some reason, it really helped me a lot. And yeah, I would say probably reading, you know, Stoicism, Seneca, and especially Seneca. I think his, you know, his writings helped me a lot early in my career. And I just enjoy reading all kinds of stuff. but not. I haven't really read anything like from you. Of course, high performance, but I mainly early in my career I went into like one subject, be it sleep, and then basically I just like went full study
All
mode.
in.
How can I basically optimize my sleep? Then I had a half a year where it was nutrition. Then I had a half a year where it was like recovery, and that's how I basically did. There's not like one book. I basically just went in and then I went full power and full focus into one subject, and that has really helped me.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say that this is for things on court for me, but then for me, with generally like in terms of the business or how I conduct myself or how I'm learning. I mean, one of it that comes straight to mind is your book, your second book. Obviously, the first book I didn't read because I didn't think it was available in English, but the second one I did. And also, I really personally really enjoy reading autobiographies because I think in some way it's a lot of very famous, very successful people who've done it, people who've gone through a lot of hardship to get out and be on the positive side from the other end. And I think I really enjoy that they actually go into the first person experience of how they did it. So I really enjoyed autobiographies. Your second book, that one, I think it took us quite deep into what your mindset and your psyche and what you had to go through and what in many ways what crap you have to crawl through to get out the other end. And then that spoke to me a little bit, quite a lot more. I enjoyed that. Another one, for example, Sir Alex Ferguson's, his was quite
I heard
good.
good things about it. I haven't read it. Maybe
and then also like Shoe Dog, Phil Knight, like the Nike founder.
Well.
Yeah, all of the Obamas was also good. Barack and Michelle's, they were also really, really good. Yeah, so those are some of it that comes to mind, and I really enjoy reading those. I think currently I'm on one that's actually someone, the writer that was actually placed inside a Team Mercedes Formula One team.
Oh, nice.
And he had access to them for almost like a whole season, and then he kind of detailed down how the Formula One team was operating, at how they did it at such a high level. And that was a really, really amazing read. Obviously, I'm biased. I love Formula One, but at the same time, I really love how detailed it is and how do you get a team of 500 to 1,000 people working on a similar dream and everybody's committed?
They're just traveling around,
Yeah.
It's really a lifestyle.
Yeah. And that kind of organization, like and then so I try and, take some of that and then work it with some of my colleagues, with everybody that we work with, trying to get that 1% every day and trying to grow at the same time. But no, that's really good. Good question, actually. Really good question. Obviously, I think for everyone who's listening or watching, if you have recommendations, put it in the chat as well.
Please send them.
Yeah, absolutely. Last three questions. Actually, this is in a fun category now. If you could pick anyone, who would you pick to play mixed doubles and men's doubles with? Choose one for current players and choose one for all-time players.
Oh.
It's hard. I can go first. I think I can go first. So this is just randomly coming in my head. I would really love to play doubles with Tony Gunawan.
No, nice, yeah.
Tony Gunawan. Yeah, like I think I guess he's one of the most underrated players. From my perspective, him and Kim Dong-moon. Obviously, both are in incredible positions within badminton. Obviously, I think Kim Dong-moon's now the president of KBA at the moment. I need to double check.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Tony has his own academy based in the States, won Olympic medals, won world championships. I mean, Olympic champion and world champion with different players and different countries as well. That fairy tale 2005 Anaheim with Howard Barks, that was also absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And still now casually plays the World Seniors with Hendra and still just walks over everybody. He's playing two or three categories, age groups down. So I think he's over 50, but he's playing over 40s. So and still winning. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to be able to just not necessarily play with him, but yeah, meet him, talk to him. Like just pick his brains, just have a meal, have a coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And what about
Sorry.
And what about mixed doubles?
Yeah. So for the ladies, I would like to hang on. I'm just thinking out loud. Like there's a lot of gears grinding in my head.
I would like to play men's doubles with Fu Haifeng, and it will just be like
You stand in the front.
it would just be like full power ahead. You know, there would be no front guy. If they play the net, it's over. They have to lift, and
They have no chance.
Full attack. I can take. Okay, we can do like he does 2 attacks, then I do 2, and we're not lifting. Lifting is not permitted.
No lift game. There is no lift game whatsoever.
No
right?
lift game whatsoever.
No lift game.
Yeah, I would also love to play mixed doubles with Huang Yachong. I think she's obviously crazy good.
Yeah, I think Huang Yachong would be. Yeah, I think it would be amazing just to watch her again, watch her play again. And I think another player, I think a current player, Dai Ziying, I would really want to be able to play a little bit with Xiao Dai again.
I think she retire already also.
Yeah. So she's
cheating answer there, CK.
Yeah. For a current player. Wow, I need to think. On the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, but then also I think it's not fair for me because obviously I see them, I see these players a lot at the moment in time, and then I can't pick one out immediately.
No.
Tina. Let's say Tina. I would love to be able to play with Tina. Yeah, Tina. Tina's a good one. But yeah, I think
podcast.
She is. I think best episode so far by far.
Yeah, great episode.
Yeah. So if you've not listened to it yet, go listen to the best episode by Tina. She was absolutely amazing in that one.
Definitely.
Okay, that's a hard question actually. That was a curveball that could have got us into trouble, right? Like if we say the wrong names.
That's why I wanted you to answer first.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one. When are we seeing the courtside special episode, Viktor and CK? What do they mean? Courtside special episode? Yeah, I don't know actually. Like, imagine if it's just commentating courtside, and then we were just laughing about it on the side of the court.
Yeah, we can do commentating on the podcast as well.
Commentating on the podcast.
Live stream where we react. I know Romain is doing that. Where he's reacting to the matches. That would probably be pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, I love listening to French commentary. Because I don't understand what's going on, but I love the emotion and the passion that's going in. Exactly. You can hear the voices like going up and down. It's kind of like watching Arabic football commentary.
Right. You're exactly right.
We want that. But I mean, yeah, I'm so up for a courtside special episode. It could be, for example, if ever we're able to formally work with the tournament organizers and also with BWF, we could do like a half-hour podcast episode involving the fans in the crowd who's actually already there. We would so love to do that. I mean, I would be so up for that. And then, yeah, Viktor, you're still coming to the tournaments anyway. We could make that happen. We would love to make that happen. So please, tell us, reach out to us. One last one. We need to see an Avocado plus Oats eating session during the podcast.
I would love to see that in real life also. I still haven't seen it before.
I think this means you also have to do it together.
And when I travel, I nowadays, after you mentioned that, I go around and I scout to see if there's anybody eating that, and I still haven't seen it. I've also asked many of my friends, and I never heard anyone eating it.
I got DMs from people saying they do it as well. So
is that real people, or is it bots? Is it bots you pay? Is it?
I don't know. Well, I need to respond to those comments and say, what else do you put in there?
Yeah, but we can do we can do one podcast where you eat
avocado and oats in a session. I think this one might be we might have to save that for the in-person one, where we then where we do it together live in person. Yeah, and then whoever makes the worst face loses.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, let's do a deal. You do the avocado plus oats, and I do whatever combination that you think I will hate.
Okay,
that'll be a good one. That'd be a good one. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a quick roundup. I mean, it also perfectly banged on 1 hour for us as well. I think we've gone through a lot of questions. We've picked out a sum that we think we will have to revisit this because I think it's a much complex question. It's more than one where we can actually answer immediately. I mean, Victor, just to put you on the spot here, do you have any questions for any of the viewers, like stuff like that? Anything you want to say to them?
No, I think again, the book recommendations is always good. Like you mentioned, they can write the comments, and always we would like feedback on everything. And this is also a it doesn't have to be about badminton per se. It can be about anything. So whatever comment or whatever question you have, maybe it will be again, a topic for an episode. So yeah, feel free to feel free to shoot comments. And again, as we already said, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. It's we're having a fun time doing it, and we're gonna keep going.
I think my question to everybody who's listening and watching is, when are we going to see? Do you want to see Victor doing stand-up comedy, especially here on the podcast? Well, 3 minutes.
I would be so nervous and so bad at it as well, I think.
But I think because of your competitiveness, you would actually go and prepare for it and then be absolutely full on.
Yeah, I would for sure.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's a great episode for us. Thank you so much for all the questions in. I think personally, I was actually quite impressed with the range of questions that's come in. Obviously, we got a lot of like, can you give me a racket? This question.
Of course.
I think that's a different one. Giveaway.
If you get a lot of DMs about your avocado on Oats, you can triple that at least with how many rackets requests I get on a daily basis.
Yeah, I also get them daily on my own personal YouTube account. But then
if I could, I would.
Yeah, I think it's a bit difficult at this point in time.
Yeah.
But keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming. We would love some book recommendations. We would love some weird oat combinations recommendations. And then please, I think we're probably going to make it a vote where do you want to see Victor doing stand-up?
Shit, that'd be expensive.
Yeah, and I think on that note, we should end this episode like this on a high, and then we cannot wait to see you all in the next episode. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. And then we'll see you in the next one. I got DMs from people saying they do it as well.
Is that real people or is it bots you pay? Is it?
We need to see an avocado plus oats eating session during the podcast.
I would love to see that in real life also.
I think this means you also have to do it together.
And when I travel nowadays, after you mentioned that, I go around and I scout to see if there's anybody eating that. And I still haven't. I've also asked many of my friends and I never heard anyone eating it.
Let's do a deal. You do the avocado plus oats and I do whatever combination that you think I would hate.
Okay, that's a deal.
That'd be a good one.